Hello everybody and welcome back. This old sword here. So I want you to pardon me while I rave over a knife. That's right. And there are many that I've reviewed that I've raved over. And I can think back and say, well, why is this better than the rest? It isn't. It just has its own niche. So of course, this is a TwoSun, and this is a design by Jelly Jerry. It's one I've had my eye on now for probably the past 6 months or so, maybe even the past year. When it first came out, it was in 14C28N. This one is in M390, hence TS229-M390. And it is, as with many TwoSun knives, let me just get the flecks of stuff off of it. As with many TwoSun knives, I feel it is a sculpture in titanium, steel, and very often carbon fiber, as we have here. Let's pause to just take a look at some of the lines on this knife. And maybe one day I'll have one of those mechanical, robotic, rotating devices, right? Where I'll spin it all around on a turntable and you can look at it without my hand in the way. But for now, we'll do it the old manual method. Look at the details. Every part of the knife has some feature that you can just stop and stare at for a while. Doesn't matter if it's the jimping that goes from the frame of the handle onto the spine of the blade, whether it's the tri-wing style pivots, whether it's the general absence of branding. And look how TwoSun got tucked into the fuller. I thought that's kind of cool. Otherwise, nothing on that side. And Jelly Jerry's insignia there, maker's mark and his name, and the steel M390. There are some knives I've run into lately where they're not even marking the steel on them, and I feel that can hurt the value in the long run, unless you absolutely are sure of what the steel is. Look at the back spacer. That fantastic, evenly machined, guess we could call it jimping, maybe. Really nice, nicely done piece of carbon fiber on both sides. And there are some reviewers that for them it's a must-have, and it's becoming a must-have for me too, where you don't just put a fancy material on the show side, even it out, put it on both sides. I agree. It's a frame lock, one might call it a bolster lock folder, because you have to tuck that frame lock underneath the scale, hardened steel insert, and check out the action. Is that pneumatic or what? Let's back out just a bit. So this is a front flipper knife, and only a front flipper. Well, not really. I mean, so we do have the groove, the fuller, that can be used to middle finger flick it. Otherwise, I'm not much of a front flipper type of user, but I can front flip this guy all day long, no problems. I use two methods. I'll either kind of run it along the edge and kind of use it like a thumb stud, right? Or bring the thumb fully over, as most people do, and flick it open that way. Got some beautiful sculpting here. It's a comfortable knife despite the fact that it looks so space age. And yes, I think we can call it a extended point tanto with a rounded front edge. This is a big flat grind down to the edge there. This thing is so sharp. There are almost no TwoSuns that come through without a aggressive fine razor edge, and this is a very fine edge down through here. Obviously, we have a much steeper grind out towards the front of the knife, but you know what? It's still freaking sharp. Yet, look at all the meat they left on that point. So you do not have a delicate point at all. Just craftsmanship, design, execution, perfect. Again, you look at this knife and some people may say, oh, weird. Other people say, oh, give me one, give me a bunch. I'm telling you, the contouring here on the handle and the width of it, it's not a skinny handle, but it's not crazy fat either. The hand just kind of melds right into it. And I saw Jared Neves do a review on this not that long ago. He had the 14C version, and he was saying how, despite the way the knife looked like you wouldn't be able to use it, it is just very effective in the hand for chores, tactical, whatever you might call upon for it. Reverse grip, no problem. I like the pommel. It's kind of cool. You may not think of it this way. For those that do any kind of bladed or combat tactics, you got a ramp here when this is closed with a massive solid pommel for your defensive strikes. And in Kali, we use them against the back of the hand, against the back of the arm, especially bonier parts of the body. Without getting too into it, that is a really cool pocket stick for less than lethal use. So before we get into measurements, I'll just show you real quick another favorite of mine, and this is totally a different design by the same designer. This is the 223 by Jelly Jerry. Almost about the same size knife, but look so conventional. But a beautiful belly on this, full flat grind. I did a review on this as well, and again, plenty of blade stock. And again, this is M390, and this is another one that I believe initially came out in Sandvik that is now offered in M390. Is it? Yes, it is. There it is. So, another cool knife, but just shows you the variance in designs by this designer. I mean, this one's really out there visually and design-wise. And the 223 is more of your conventional sort of a drop point. All right. I'm going to stop yammering here for a while. We'll run you some quick specs because they're not always the most accurate online, as I've said before. We have a good-sized knife of 8.5 inches overall, with a blade of, we're going to call it 3.6, cutting edge of 3.35, let's say. That choil, by the way, doesn't really have a lot of use. It could have been made just a little bigger. You can just kind of barely fit your finger in there. That's one downside, I would say, of the knife. But if you hold it back here in the handle, you're plenty far enough forward. If you want to squeak your finger up in there, you can. All right. Continuing with the measurements, let's do the blade stock in millimeters, and it's going to be a thick one. 4 millimeter blade stock. Nice and hefty. And we're also going to have a pretty hefty cross section of the handle. I'm going to call it 0.58. Finally, the weight. And we have still under 4 ounces, 4.41 ounces, which begs the question, is there any weight relieving? Is this milled out on the inside? And the answer is no. Interesting. Let's get the old Rovivon out. It is strictly flat on the inside of that knife, so whatever weight reduction there is by virtue of the material, which is titanium. Got a real interesting titanium clip. Look at that cutout. It is smooth in and out of the pocket. You got a ramp on both sides, and you have nothing but smooth carbon fiber underneath. You know, no features of the handle that are going to hang it up. It is relatively deep carry. We can't really call it a deep carry. Hardware is steel, as is the pivot. So you don't have titanium hardware on it. But this is a knife that's going for anywhere between 110 and 120. You know, I see nothing about this that lacks anything that you're going to get in a $300 or $400 knife, Riot included. So I certainly don't mean to slander those that are Riot collectors. I don't have any. Got a bunch of Wee knives, got a bunch of Bestech, got a bunch of Reich, a lot of them over 300. So, but you know, this holds up with the best of them, I would say. So that is my blade infatuation of the day. The Jelly Jerry designed TwoSun TS229-M390. Hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, give it a like. And hey, I need a few more subscribers, so get the word around. Got a lot of folks watching, but we need a few more subscribing. And I'm well over 1,500 subscribers at this point in time in late July 2021. Hoping to do a giveaway at 2K, so stay tuned. This Old Sword, signing out.